My Pecha Kucha is based on school policy issues around technology that disproportionately affect students from low socioeconomic status backgrounds. I chose this topic because I have experienced the difficulty of students navigating through class without the same technology use as their peers and the stigma it perpetuates. This project is relevant to my practice because it is related to my experiences teaching middle school students within a high school building. One middle school student has faced pressure and denial to access a district-provided computer because she was destructive with past technology use. The district will only issue her a new computer if the family pays the fees for the replacement cost. Educators should work hard to provide students full and equal access to available technologies to prepare them for class and the demands of life after high school. The original equity-related dilemma is the denial of education-related materials to students of low socioeconomic status backgrounds. This equity-related issue has produced several other dilemmas for this student, including an inability to send emails for clarifying information, lack of access to our learning management software, denial of an opportunity to self-check grades, and inadequate approaches to building research skills, among others. In Who's Wired and Who's Not, Henry Becker argues that besides families, schools are the institutions most responsible for instilling in children the skills leading to productive lives. Becker brings this thought even further by stating, schools play a crucial role in ensuring equal opportunities for less advantaged children by providing access to computer technology. In a separate article, Kelly Rogers downplayed the role technology has in schools, noting that some studies show educational technology did not have a statistically significant impact on student achievement. Rogers elaborates, saying, "Not all students learning with educational technology learn better than those learning without educational technology." Systemic issues that hide socioeconomic disparities can pose challenges for educators. We must work together to address issues of equity and be solution-oriented. The Model Code of Ethics supports this work by advocating for equitable educational opportunities for all students and demonstrate a commitment to equality, equity, and inclusion for all students. Before looking into this equity-related issue, I had just assumed that schools, who are increasingly ditching textbooks in favor of online resources, would provide the tools necessary for students to interact with those resources. I never envisioned that a student would have to navigate through a deeply embedded digital curriculum without the use of a computer. One might argue that the student had access to a computer but sacrificed that right by destroying the first computer they were given. When operating under this view, the school is well within their rights to protect their property and limit the exposure of that property to abuse. Handing out computers without consequences would set bad precedent for future situations. A different perspective sees computer use not as a privilege, but as a needed component to operate in a 21st century classroom. While brainstorming all the uses of digital technologies within my high school classroom and reading background literature on the topic, three main themes began to emerge. The first theme centers around communication. Our district provides all students with a school-based email to communicate with teachers, collaborate with peers, and read announcements relevant to school. One analysis quoted the importance of communication by saying, "Ultimately, learning is an interactive process between teachers and students. The process, therefore, should not end after the face-to-face sessions." The second theme is the denial of technological skills needed to succeed in a digital world. Yellen and Neal describe socioeconomic status as the primary cause of what they term a ladder of opportunity, which posits that disadvantaged youth never fully reach the most advanced and creative steps using technology as a result of an early denial to exposure with these tools. The third theme relates to the stigmas associated with the school district's policy. Students from low-income families are not only reminded of their financial standing in society, but the policy further perpetuates harmful rhetoric about worth. Her quote shines light on the student's fixed mindset when she replied, "We're broke." I immediately set out to find solutions to this dilemma. Before having these courageous conversations, I set goals to approach the issue from a shared value lens. What's in the best interest of the students? Through discussions, I attempted to use both and thinking to find a solution that was favorable for both parties. My conversations with 3 different departments had mixed results. The tech department was concerned with cost. They offered little support for this concern. The behavior department was concerned with precedent. They wanted to help, but their solution was to simply print academic materials for the student to use on paper. The building administrative leader was more receptive to my concerns, and we brainstormed ideas that may work. My solution used input from every discussion and tried to find middle ground with each. Investigations were made to see if we could circumvent funding from the tech department, maintain control of the computers to satisfy the behavior department, and most importantly, provide students with equitable access they need. Although investigations are ongoing, conversations are being had at an administrative level, and I'm confident we will find an equitable solution to this ethical dilemma. Understanding the complexity of systemic issues and then acting to improve those issues strengthens our cultural humility and ability to empathize with emerging dilemmas in education. How can this ethical dilemma inform other situations? Sometimes we need to dig deeper on policies to realize there may be inequities at play. Rogers put it perfectly by stating, "Equity in education means increasing all students' access to educational opportunities with a focus on closing achievement gaps and removing barriers that students face based on identity." In closing, teachers must be vigilant about barriers that threaten equitable learning. A careful analysis of classroom tasks and the materials required for those tasks is needed to protect the learning of students from disadvantaged socioeconomic conditions. What we teach should be accessible to all students.